10. I thought we were up to 9, but 10, which means 3 more episodes to go. And then it's game over. It's your boy Icon with a little DC TV going over some Titans, coming off of last week's episode where Gar had tapped into the multiverse, and then after coming off an episode of The Flash where we find out that Oliver Queen is responsible for taking care of the Arrowverse and the multiverse. A lot of multiverse stuff going on, building up towards this Flash movie, which should be a banger. So anyway, in this particular episode, Sebastian Blood then killed his mama because he was having a conversation with baby Luthor, with young. I mean, are we still calling him Superboy? Like, are we calling him, like Connor Luthor now? So Connor and Sebastian, they're having a conversation at the diner, and then Connor tells him, he's like, oh, I'm taking over LexCorp. He's like, I'm the boss now, and I want to bring you in so we can change the world. He was like, whatever it is that you want, Sebastian, he said, LexCorp will provide it. So then he goes to his mama, and then his mom is just like, oh, it's time for you to blow the horn and bring back your father. And then he was just like, I don't want to bring back my father. He was just like, he said, you never asked me what I wanted, mother. And then she got it. And then here's the funny thing. Not only did she slap the shit out of him, but then she was just like, she's like, no one cares what you want because you're nobody. And then he got upset and got a little emotional. She was like, oh, are you going to cry, Sebastian? She's like, are you going to piss your pants? And then she was like, I don't care if you cry or piss yourself, just blow the damn horn. And then he got upset because she was like, you're nothing without Trigon. You'll always be nothing. And then he got mad because he was like, I have power and I need respect. And then he was just like, I will not summon him. And then he burnt his mom to a crisp. And I was a little bit shocked by that. So now both he and Connor, they're together now, and they've decided that they're going to change the world by making a video game. The Titans are back at the tower, or Star Labs, and while they're at Star Labs, they see LexCorp, they see Connor, they see Sebastian, and they're just like, holy shit, like Connor turned to the dark side and now he's working for the enemy. So then they're just like, okay, we need to find a way to take him down, but we got to figure some stuff out. And then that's when Rachel was just like, she was like, oh, let's just go down there and find out if we can trust him or not. But then that's when Dick was like, no, because he was like, I don't want you to go down there. Rachel got upset because she was just like, oh, why am I being benched? And he said, because you and him share a connection, and we don't want to hurt him at the risk of hurting you. But she was like, oh, the connection only worked when we were in like Pleasantville. She's like, it's not going to work now. But then Dick was like, no, and he laid down the law. She threw a little tantrum about it, like a little hissy fit. And then that's when, because she begged him, she was like, don't put me on the sidelines, because she's like, I can help. And then that's when Dick was just like, he was just like, all right, fuck it. He said, let me make a phone call and then I'll get back to you. He called John Constantine. They never actually said John Constantine, but the way the whole episode played out, it was basically he called John Constantine. And Constantine hooked him up with one of his peoples, some old crazy lady that draws like images into dust and everything. So Dick takes Rachel down to this crazy woman so they can try to figure out how to break the connection, because Dick told her, he was like, listen, if you want back into the fight, then we got to sever this connection between you and Sebastian. So the woman was just like, oh, she was like, I'm going to create a circle, and then it's going to create, she said that what's going to happen is the connection between Rachel and Sebastian is going to take the form of a person after she does the spell. She said once that happens, that form that it takes, it's going to try to feed off of Rachel's life force. She told Dick, she said, it's your job to make sure that you kill it, because you're going to be the one to sever the connection and kill the connection. And then Dick was just like, well, how am I going to do that with no blade? And then she's like, don't worry. She's like, your love for this child will see you through. So they end up doing the damn thing. And then after that, so she does the spell, like the connection takes the form of man, behold the demon Etrigan. And then Dick fights the monster, him and the monster go back and forth, and then when the monster's about to kill Rachel, that's when it turns into a blade. Dick stabs the monster, kills the monster, and now the connection between Sebastian and Rachel is broken. Meanwhile, back at LexCorp Tower, they're sitting here, they're trying to make this video game. When the video game is ready, the video game comes to life, they release the video game throughout every single person on the planet. People start downloading the game in drones. Now, the cool thing is, although Superboy is working with Sebastian Blood, he's secretly working with Mercy Graves to take down Sebastian. Having the whole thing about keeping your enemies close. Having Sebastian working at LexCorp gives Connor access to be able to take him down. There were moments where, and for some reason, despite the fact that Sebastian doesn't want to blow the horn, he's keeping the horn with him. It's even sitting at his desk at LexCorp. And then Superboy tries to lift the horn and break it, but he can't break it because of some magical mumbo jumbo. And now that Superboy realizes that he can't break the horn, he's trying to figure out other ways to take down Sebastian. He's even going back and forth texting Mercy Graves. He's like, bitch, find me something where I can take down Sebastian Blood. And then Sebastian comes out and he's just like, oh, the video game was a smashing hit. But then we find out that the video game, it's actually, because it's a game where you have to connect certain dots to form something. The image that you form when you play this video game, it's a magical logo that I don't know if it like poisons people, like it puts them in a trance, it takes over their body, it sucks up their life force. It basically does something because everybody that's playing this game is now dying because Sebastian had put a little trap in it that, you know, again, that sucks the life force out of everybody. I guess it feeds Sebastian blood. Superboy didn't know about this, and now he's just like, shit, I gotta stop this dude because not only is he killing people, but he's killing women and children and little babies and everything. So now Superboy freaking out because he was the one that brought him in and he can't stop him. So now he got to figure out how to stop him. So meanwhile, back at Star Labs, Corey now, she's just like, okay, she's gonna go somewhere to try to figure out, you know, what to do and what her next steps are. She goes into a room, and when she goes into a room, she ends up at the Doom Patrol Manor, aka the Red, where Beast Boy is, where Cyborg is, where Cliff is, and where Larry is. She goes into the door, and then when she goes into the door, that's when Cyborg jumps up because the door is open and then the door is about to close. Cyborg jumps up to try to stop the door from closing, and just before he goes to stop the door from closing, Corey punches him in the face because she thought he was attacking. And then she sees that, because we have to remember, this is not aside from despite the fact that Cyborg is in the episode, despite the fact that Cyborg is with Larry and Cliff, we have to remember this is not the Doom Patrol from the TV show. This is the Doom, because they're on a different Earth. This is the Doom Patrol from the Earth that the Titans are on, Earth 9, I think it was. This is Doom. This is Titans Doom Patrol. Why Cyborg's still there, I don't know, but this is Titans Doom Patrol because Gar was talking to Cliff and they did the whole hug thing, and then, you know, him and Larry did their whole like salute handshake thing. So like I said, this is current Titans Doom Patrol. So now they're just like, yeah, we're trapped. So then Corey comes in. That's when Corey was like, don't I recognize you? Talking about Cliff and Larry, and then they were like, yeah. And then that's when Gar shows up and he's like, hey, welcome to the Red. And then that's when Vic was like, so we're gonna ignore this sucker punch. And then the two of Vic kind of like her. You could tell like he got a little thing for her. But then like the two of them, like they were talking and everything, and now they're trapped because he told her, he was like, listen, we're trapped in the Red, and he said the Red is trying to get us to figure out something, but we just have to just play it out. He said because we can't leave, we got to figure out what the Red wants. What the Red wanted, Corey's whole purpose of being in the Red was because she was having doubt and because she was having second thoughts, because she felt some kind of way about not being able to kill Sebastian. Her doubt and everything, she was trying to, the Red wanted her to find a balance between her guilt and her grief and doing her duty as a Titan. And then the way she got to that was she was basically having a tennis match between, you know, the Doom Patrol versus the Titans, because what ended up happening was she just needed to let go and decompress and have fun. And then she said that when she had fun, then she realized that she wanted, like, she needs to stop Sebastian, not because she hates him, but because she wants to preserve the people who she loves and the people who she cares about. And then when Corey came to her realization moment, that's when Larry found a sign, a big old sign that appeared that said backdoor. There's a joke in there. The entire group goes into the room that said backdoor. They're in a little room now, and then the walls start caving in. There were like these 3 little bullseyes on top. And then I guess for some reason, Gar was just like, hey, if we hit those bullseyes, it'll take us out of the Red and back into the real world. And then that's when Cyborg, he was just like, well, screw it. The negative spirit, you know, like lit the way for them to the ceiling. Gar turned into a bat to try to like guide Victor. Victor's the only person with a cannon. Victor used the cannon. He shot the ceiling, gave us a booyah, and then it disappeared and everybody went back to where they was. Cool cameo by the Doom Patrol. And, you know, although it was only 3 members, it was definitely still a cool little cameo. And also to see Victor, to see Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy together was nice too. Because also the dynamic between Cyborg and Gar, although like the two of them were going back and forth and like making jabs at each other, I like their dynamic. It's like, it's not the dynamic that we're used to with them being like the best of buddies. It's more like a frenemy love-hate relationship. But you can tell if the two of them actually really got to spend time together, it would blossom into an actual friendship. So I wanted to see more of that, and it's a damn shame that both shows are ending. So now, and then like I said, the Doom Patrol went back to, you know, the actual Doom Manor to where they were, and then the Titans end up back, you know, in Star Labs. So now they're back in Star Labs, and then when they're in Star Labs, they find out that like everybody is succumbing to the darkness of this video game, including Bernard. Tim is all upset about it, and then they're trying to figure out how they can stop the video game, you know, before it takes over more people. And then Tim, you know, he's on the computer trying to do the computer thing, and then he was just like, you know, we can't get in. There's no way for us to get in. He said if only there was a back door or something where we can get into their server. And then that's when Corey and Gar was like, aha. And then they were just like, there is a back door. So they told Tim, they said, listen, try to use a back door into their server. And then he was like, well, that's not going to work, but screw it. You know, we'll try anything at this point. So he tries the back door situation. And at that moment, in order for Connor to stop Sebastian from taking over the souls of every single person on the planet, Connor opened up a back door for the Titans to get into the server so they can take down his video game, which is what happened. They stopped the video game, they stopped the connection from him reaching more people all across the globe, and the game crashed and it failed, and everybody was like ridiculing him all over social media. So the Titans saved the day for now in that regard. Superboy had a hand in it. When Dick came back, he said that he looked up the information and he said that somebody let them into the back door, no pun intended, and they said that it actually was Superboy, and they know that Connor's on their side now because he's working from the shadows. So now they're just like, okay, so the game has stopped. We just severed the connection between Rachel and Sebastian. So now's our chance to take Sebastian down once and for all before he blows that damn horn. Back at LexCorp, Sebastian's sitting there, and now he's just like, oh, I failed. And he was just like, oh, there's nothing I can do, and I'm powerless, and blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, he hears his mother's voice saying, like, oh, you must blow the horn and let your daddy out. So now, for whatever reason, again, the horn is sitting on the table. The horn is there, and now he's considering blowing the horn, because this is one of those things where, like, because he didn't win, it's like, you ever play like checkers or chess with somebody, and then just when you're about to beat the person gets mad and like wipes throws everything on the floor, like wipes the board clean. That's what he's about to do now, because since his little video game failed, he's like, since he's like, I tried to reach the planet with everything with my video game, and because it didn't work, screw it now, I'm going to blow the horn and destroy the planet. And I'm just like, really? Like really, we being a baby like that? But yeah, he's probably going to blow the horn in the next episode. That's how it ended, and thank you for tuning in. So, like the Doom Patrol aspect of it, and I hope in the season finale, the Doom Patrol, I hope the Red takes the Doom Patrol, takes Stargirl, and anybody else we can find, and brings them in to help take down Sebastian or Trigon or whoever shows up for the season finale. But a cool episode. I love the relationship between Dick and Rachel always, because, like the big brother, big sister dynamic. And then, even when she was cursing him out and everything, and then she was just like, oh, don't talk. She was being a little brat about it, but, like that's still young Gillian Grayson, and two of them are always going to have that connection. And even Gar, because like I said, like him turning into other animals now is actually dope. So I'm looking forward to that. 3 episodes to go. We'll see what will happen with Titans. Check out the Hour podcast with myself, Sean, and Justin, where we talk about the Arrowverse, because now that Oliver Queen came back, because we got the Spectre in the multiverse, and because Gar is tapping into the multiverse, and we got the Flash coming out, which is about the multiverse, it's probably now's a good time to have this conversation regarding the Arrowverse and everything in between as we roll on to more superhero goodness. Check out my Superman and Lois reviews, which is because Superman and Lois is crushing it. And like I said, we still got Flash on the channel with 4 episodes to go, and now the Reverse Flash is here, and we're probably going to lead ourselves to the beginning of the end, where Barry sees old Barry kill his mom because he's now old Barry looking at young Barry. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So until next week for some more Titans action. Don't let it be game over until next week. About this.